Welcome everybody tonight to Fiancé Fridays on a Monday night. So we have a lot to talk about. So George and I will figure out where to start.
Well, yeah, we didn't go live last night. So we have a lot to talk about. We watched Happily Ever After. We watched The Other Way.
Mhm.
There's a lot to cover. So I don't know. You want to start with Happily Ever After, or how do you want to go about that?
I'm trying to think in the past, what have we prioritized? Happily Ever After or the other way?
This is probably not Happily Ever After because nothing happened. I mean, this episode of Happily Ever After was actually not bad.
Hmm.
For me, I know, other people might feel differently, but this one was funny because it had Jasmine and Matt's um scene with Matt's ex-roommate of fellow Romanian, and we found out that Matt is extremely ashamed of his relationship with Jasmine, which made made sense because it's Jasmine. I would be ashamed of it too. But we actually found out that aside from him being a male whore side piece, he's also a religious man whose mom is disappointed in him. So kind of humanized Matt a little bit because I just been calling him a whore this whole time. I didn't realize that he had a mom.
But by the way, are we allowed to like goof on slash give grief slash bust balls of like Matt's friend and stuff?
Well, yeah, everyone's fair game. He got paid. He got paid for his appearance. Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Okay, then the one thing I was gonna say is like people, I forget what the comment section was saying about Matt's friend, but they didn't really, no one was really impressed by him. And I was like, well, what do you expect? Matt to have cool friends?
Well, I actually see for me, I
Mm.
actually thought that he was too cool to be Matt's friend. So I actually was on the opposite side of the spectrum because I was like, he seems, as normal can be for someone who lives in Canton, Michigan. But I was like, that it actually seemed like he's too down to earth and too normal to be cool with Matt. So it was a little confusing for me.
Yeah, and then I don't know. Yeah, it just seemed. Yeah, everyone was like, yeah, Jasmine. Between Jasmine and Matt, they're all like, oh, they're all immature, like children.
Well, yeah, I mean, Jasmine said that she hadn't told any of her friends, family, her kids. No one knew that she was pregnant or even living with Matt. They all thought that she was still living with Gino. And I guess vice versa, Matt hasn't told anyone that he shacked up with a married woman and he got her pregnant. But Jasmine was like, "Well, you're embarrassed of me," and I was like, "Well, you embarrassed of him too. Y'all haven't told each other. Like y'all are embarrassed of each other,
Mm.
right? Like you're not telling your family about him. He's not telling his family about you. You're both embarrassed of the situation that you both put yourselves in, which you should be,
Yeah,
right?"
like the way they're like both kind of embarrassed of like their own tea spilling. I think that's like even more reason why they hate like people like yours truly, you and I, is because like we're the ones exposing them of all this their tea. So they probably that's probably another reason why they hate us because they don't like they're all embarrassed and shit.
Well, I mean, it never even crossed my mind that Jasmine had shame. Like
Mhm.
it never crossed my mind because the way that she moves and acts and does things, it never even dawned on me that she might be someone who possesses shame. So watching this episode, it was kind of interesting for me. I was like, oh wait, so she does care what people think of her because based on the way that she posts on social media and the things that she does and she
Well,
says and stuff, I didn't realize that she had shame.
well, I mean, based on that conversation with the friend and stuff, it seemed like Matt was the one that was more like insecure and stuff. He was the one that trying to keep shit on the down low. But I think, like for example, like Jasmine, I'm not talking about like online at this point. I'm just talking about like in real life. Like I think it was obvious Jasmine was like she wasn't really hiding her pregnancy that much because remember, like not to like backtrack old tea, but there was the one story that came out that I kind of helped expose, which was Jasmine had hired some guy in Florida to like do like work at his house, like let's say home decorating type work, like that kind of construction type work. And then she was in the house like nonstop blabbing about like, yeah, I'm like on reality TV and yeah, I'm like and she's like showing off. And it was obvious she was pregnant. She wasn't like hiding it. So she was like blabbing nonstop like she's somebody special. So she wasn't really like she was kind of proud of it on the low low.
Well, yeah, none of her family in Panama were in Florida. So she had, and I don't know, somebody in the comments were like, don't her family have the internet or TV? I don't know if they can actually watch the show there because I've heard, people from different countries tell me there's a lot of difficulties watching these shows from, other countries. So she might feel safe like telling anybody on in the States what she's got going on because she knows it's probably not going to get back to her friends or her family back in Panama. So I don't think she was hiding it per se. I do think that she wanted to force it on Matt and his family. Like she wanted him to
Mhm.
blame her basically. Like you should tell everyone about me or whatever, but she wasn't willing to reciprocate that. She wasn't willing to tell her mom or her daughter or sons or whatever. She didn't want to tell anybody that mattered to her that she was, with somebody else and she was pregnant and starting a new family. But she wanted him to blab to everybody about her, which I thought was ridiculous.
Do we know if like Matt's like parents are in the States or in Romania?
I'm pretty sure they're in the United States.
True. I mean, I'm wondering if like because it's like it seems such a cliche, especially in the 90-day world where everything is cliche at this point, but like the whole, I have super religious parents and I'm embarrassed to show you and you better cover up for them. It seems very like storyline based on like, isn't that like with Darcy and Stacey or whatever, or Darcy, it's a
Well,
bullshit fucking storyline.
remember that Matt used to work at a strip club.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm beginning. I don't believe that his family is gonna disown him because he knocked up a married woman. I think that he was probably messing with strippers at the strip club that he used to work at. So yeah, I think it's more storyline than anything. It's a convenient storyline, like, oh, we're gonna meet your mom, but she's gonna be really mad that you had sex with a married woman and got her pregnant and you're not married. Like that, like, yeah, I definitely think that, somebody who used to work at a strip club, he's not a saint, right? I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure that at the end of the night, some of those girls and him were messing around. So yeah, I don't think that's the thing.
He's a fucking like, I mean, how many, again, I'm about to talk shit, but I'm just trying to be entertaining. But like, I mean, this doesn't mean necessarily have to be about like Matt in particular, but like, and no offense to people that are like valet parkers and stuff. I'm not trying to shit on the blue class workers out there, but like when you see a valet guy, you don't look at him as like the most upstanding citizen on the planet. I
I
don't.
mean, no, it's not like he's an accountant or he works in finance or he's a lawyer, and typically those guys are, I don't want to say anything offensive. Like, say for instance, okay, where I used to live, not this state, a different state, the valet guy where I used to live, it was a well-known fact that if you wanted weed,
Mhm.
he could get it for you.
He'll park your car and put a dime bag in the.
Yeah, yeah, you pay him, and then when he gets your car from the garage, there'll be a dime bag in the middle console. Like it was a thing. So I'm not saying I definitely am not saying that about Matt, but it was known that they would do things that weren't necessarily legal. And it wasn't just him. There were other different valet. You had to know which valet person was driving to know or working that night to know what you could get. There were some of them that could get you crack, depending on what you were looking for, So yeah, I think that that's not a job where people who have a whole lot of future ahead of them take, right? They're not going to become the next president. Well, actually, maybe. In the state of this country, maybe, but usually not.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I don't think the whole he's just like like a prince that's like without any, the perfect prince that the parents are like going to be rattled by Jasmine. They'll
Well,
probably be rattled by her because she's just an offensive person.
well, right. Yeah, he's not this innocent little Christian boy that, his mom is going to be disappointed in. That's definitely not the storyline. And I'm pretty sure the mom has probably known about Jasmine this whole time. It's all strict. She's going to fake meet her on the show, obviously, and she's going to fake hate her, but I'm pretty sure that that's not the case because we all know that they're shopping for houses together. So we know how the story ends.
I mean, he's been on like shitty fucking Tubi movies, so I'm sure the parents look up the Tubi movie and they're like, "Dude, why are you like a goon in this movie? You seem like a scumbag in this movie." So he's not the president in the movie either.
Well, who said he's acting,
Mm.
right? Who said he's acting? Maybe he is a scumbag.
He's literally, I'm not even embellishing in that one movie, he was a literal thug. So,
Yeah, I saw that, and he didn't play a great thug. He definitely wasn't convincing for me. But what do I know? I'm not a Hollywood movie producer, so.
true. To remind me, what else happened in Happily Ever After?
Oh, so we found out that Darcy requires Georgie to pay half of their rent, and when he doesn't pay it, she tells her dad on him. So that was interesting for me because first off, I didn't realize that boy toys had to pay rent because I consider a boy toy to be the equivalent of when like a 64-year-old man has like a 26-year-old girlfriend.
Mhm.
They're not paying rent, right? Like it's just not happening. You know, her share is that young coochie that he gets to have. So the idea that Georgie has to pay half of the rent, it caught me off guard because I thought, in my opinion, in my mind, I assumed Georgie was with Darcy because it was, a free ride. I
Mhm.
definitely don't ever see him happy with her. It doesn't look like he loves her. It doesn't look like, he wants to spend the rest of his life with her. I just assumed that she was giving him a lifestyle that he couldn't
Mhm.
afford on his own. So when I found out that he was paying half the rent, it kind of left me confused. Because I was,
Mhm.
so wait, does he actually love her? Because what's the point of staying with somebody that you don't love if you got to pay your own way? Like I didn't understand that.
I mean, the only thing, like, the main thing that jumped out to me though was like, and again, I'm not saying yours truly is perfect. We're all fucked up in our own ways, but the whole part with like the father being involved in the text message where you rat out your husband to your father, that seems like a very like dysfunctional setup. That's kind of a fucked up situation.
Well, I didn't understand because she was like, "Oh, well, whenever I want him to do something and I can't get him to do it, I tell my dad on him." And I was like, "Well, what does he give? Why would he care what your dad thinks?"
Yeah, it's just weird. It just seems like very dysfunctional. That's all I'm trying to say.
It's like if you're 50 years old and you got to call your dad, to help you in relationships or in situations, that says a lot. You
Seems,
know, dad should actually be at the point where he's like, "Stop involving me. You're grown enough. You've
yeah,
been
yeah,
5 decades. You're grown enough to handle your own relationship."
yeah. It seems like in some weird way, it's like infantilizing to Darcy.
Yeah, yeah, and most people will drag her up and down, but the fact that she got her boy toy to even pay rent is impressive.
Hmm.
Because I think what's crazy to me, because remember back in the day, you watch Darcy and Stacey, right? Because I remember when Stacey tried to get Florian to get a job. Remember she sent him on job interviews, she sent him to modeling interviews, and he made sure he blew every interview because he's not in this relationship with a 50-year-old woman to go work, right?
Hmm.
That's not how this works, and he never got a job. And I'm wondering, if Georgie thought that that was going to be the same situation that Florian got for him, and I wonder if it blew up in his face. And don't get me wrong, I think when Darcy and Stacey had their own show and money was flowing a lot, smoother, I do think that they treated their boy toys really well.
Hmm.
Think, once their show got canceled and the money was becoming more and more scarce, I think that, Georgie said 2 weeks ago, he was like, "Y'all are broke bitches." And he said, and I think he meant that. I think he really did mean it. I think that now that things are not looking the way that they are, I think that him and Florian are now at a crossroads of, do we stay with them because they can't pay for shit anymore? Or what do we do?
Yeah, they're like these old hags. They're like, the clout is drying up.
Yeah, it's getting real dry. That well is getting real dry, and I think Georgie and Florian, because there's a lot of
Like
news. Like
they're,
the
they're,
latest
they're
news is Georgie and Florian live together, and Darcy and Stacey live together, and neither of them are with each other. That's
like
what the news is.
they're going through like clout menopause.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
that's kind of what's going on though. And I think that when Georgie called them broke, and I was like, I need to investigate. I was like, are they really broke? And then I started doing the math. And then when she was like, he's not paying me half the rent, and I was like, that's broke people behavior. Like you're charging your boy toy rent. I was like, y'all are broke. He wasn't even making that shit up. He didn't, because I knew when Stacy caught a stray, because when he called Darcy broke and then he turned around and called Stacy broke, I was like, Stacy wasn't even in this conversation. Now you're just being mean. I was like, she caught a stray bullet, right? Because Stacy was like, well, shit, why am I broke, bitch? I wasn't even mad at you. I was minding my own business. That's how I knew shit's going down.
Yeah. I'm switch. Can I switch gears or something? Or?
Well, yeah, I don't know what else happened on.
Yeah. Well, like, okay, so the one thing, I don't know if it's like we should save it for Friday or not, because it's definitely something that's like an explosive topic, but like one topic, because it's like tied into social media, but like there was the whole kerfluffle that I was in the middle of. randomly. But anyway, like there was a whole thing with like it was Kenny versus like Tiger Lily, and then all of a sudden I was in the mix and I was catching strays and firing bullets, and it was all crazy. But that may be better for Friday because that's at least like half an hour or something.
Well, I
That
was
is better for Friday.
yeah, I was so confused. So yeah, I don't even know if we have time to do
Yeah,
that.
because I have a lot of points to make, and then we can go
Well,
through all.
first of all, you would have to explain to me what the fuck even happened. Then we get into so yeah, I don't think we have time because I don't even know what happened. So you would yeah, I don't think we
I would
have
have to we'd have to start from the beginning. I would have to explain like what happened with background, like why I got all like bent out of shape, and then they got all bent out of shape, and then we were going back and forth. So that's definitely like a 30-minute topic.
yeah.
And then George would have questions and follow-up questions and more follow-up questions.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
when I saw it in the group chat, I was immediately confused because I was like, "Well, what started this? Where did this come from?" And it went on for so long too, and I was so yeah,
It's
that'll
a,
be a fun Friday little kerfuffle to go through because it needs to be unpacked for me because I don't even know what happened.
yeah, like we'll save it for Friday, but I will say like little teasers is like the one thing I hate, and this isn't I can't. You know what I hate is like this isn't even specific just to what happened like on Sunday because it's happened in the past, but like I really get pissed off when like let's say you call someone out or you're going at one person and then all of a sudden their significant other is like in the comment section talking shit too, and it's like all of a sudden it's like a 2v1, but then you fight. I was fighting both them motherfuckers. So that was going on, and that's happened in the past with like someone and usually I'll block both of them, but this one didn't get to the level of blocking. It didn't really get that serious, but it was definitely a 2v1, but I was fighting both them motherfuckers and they were fan favorites. I don't give a fuck. I'll fight anyone because if I can handle Jasmine's fans, I'll fuck with Kenny and Armand. I don't give a fuck. Anyway.
Well, yeah, and I have comments on that too, but yeah, I'll save that for Friday because I have feelings about the both of them, so I'll save that for a
Yeah.
fun
That's a
little.
little teaser to tickles y'all's ass with a feather.
Yeah, well, I'll still put the hose in the mud.
Here's the one I will say, like if you don't know what the fuck we're talking about and you can't wait till Friday, you can yeah, I did do like 3 posts on it like yesterday, so you could check the posts, read the comment section, and try to piece together some of what happened. But yeah, it's definitely like a long, like 30-minute topic. So
Yeah, it'll be a minute, but I promise you, it'll be interesting because I was reading the comments back and forth, and there's a lot of insults going back and forth. So yeah, it'll be fun. And then I commented something about Tiger Lily on
mm,
one of your posts, and Kenny liked it. So and
yeah,
I realized, and it was a really mean post about Tiger Lily. So I guess he doesn't like Tiger Lily. So that
yeah,
makes it cool in my book.
true. Though okay, and now I'm like I don't we don't have to get into it, but let me just the only thing I will say is like let me just at least get it out of my system of what was like rubbing me the wrong way or was like because it's like kind of it's a long story line. I'm pretty sure like Tiger Lily's she's basically on the outs, let's just say, as far as being on the show. So then there's it's happened in the past when someone's on the outs from being on the TLC show. Kenny like magically who's like usually like a nice guy, he magically goes on the attack of anyone that's like anyone versus the network. Kenny's like the dog that starts at their ankles. It's
Yeah,
so
he's always the network spokesperson, right? So if someone says anything bad about the network, the network will never respond, but Kenny becomes their spokesperson and he responds for the network. You're 100% right.
exactly, and it's happened with like Statler, and he's attacked Statler, and then it happened with Tiger Lily. She's on the outs, and now he out of nowhere starts attacking her, and then I got upset because I'm like, dude, you have a pattern. It's like a pattern of this behavior where you're like out of nowhere, you happen just so magically happen to be attacking whoever the TLC is like done with. And I was just calling it out simply. And then they got all upset because probably what I was saying is factual. If it wasn't factual, you could just like kind of ignore me and instead of giving me more, ammunition. So it went all back and forth. And I obviously don't give a fuck at this point. But anyway, that's kind of the teaser. But we should save the rest for Friday, I guess.
Yeah, we'll save the rest because we have a little more to explain about the Tiger Lily situation. And I have a little more information that I can give you guys. So that'll be because I know a lot of people are like, why are they no longer on the show? They haven't been on over a month. I can give you a little bit more info on that on Friday. So make sure you guys are listening.
Mm.
Because you're not gonna see her. right? You're not going to see her, and we're going to explain to you a little bit more why that is.
True. And yeah, we could, assuming like the comments are still up there, we could on Friday we could even read some of the back and forth because it got pretty nasty. But at the end of the day, I will say I didn't block anyone, so it didn't get to that level. So anyway, it's some good old entertainment that we'll all forget about in a week, I'm sure.
Pretty sure.
No one is no longer a friend of the show or anything. Like no one is like in the outs and in the doghouse or anything. Everything is cool.
True. I mean, I don't know about all that, but I'm still gonna talk my shit. But at the same time, it just hasn't gotten to blocking yet.
No, no,
Yeah.
it hasn't gotten there. And so Gino said that Jasmine owes him $80,000. Um, and he said that he went to the immigration and reported her for marriage fraud, which she in turn posted that she is no longer or she's not allowed to leave the country
Hmm.
because of that report. Now, remember, I think you had reported that someone on Reddit said that she was frequently going on flights to Panama.
Hmm.
So now that we know that she's no longer allowed to leave the country, and this has been, I think he made this report almost a year ago. So I don't think that that Reddit story has any validity to it because she's not allowed to leave the country because she's, I guess, under some sort of investigation. So she did put that on her Instagram story. So I guess she hasn't been back to see her kids, which we had already figured out because we knew that if she was going back there to see her kids, she would post that she was there seeing her kids because then we would get off of her ass for telling her to go see her kids. So I knew she wasn't over there because she would have posted it. So now we know for sure that she wasn't.
True. I'm gonna look at my happily ever after tweets to see if see what we can talk about real quick. Let's just go through them.
Wait, did you actually tweet?
What for happily ever after? I think no. I always tweet about happily ever after. I just don't always tweet about the other way.
Really? I thought it was the other way around. I always tweet about happily ever after, but the other way I don't usually produce as many tweets. But usually for happily ever after, I produce a lot of tweets.
No. I mean that's same as me. Like usually I'll post a lot about happily ever after, but not about the other way. Um, let's see. So I think the first post I did was when I'm just going through my live tweets from happily ever after. So when what's his name Matt was building the like bassinet, I tweeted the photo and I said I assume that bassinet is from Jasmine's Amazon wish list.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's the first thought that came into my mind.
Hmm.
The fan that purchased that, show yourself. Show yourself.
You made a famous purchase.
Yeah, your purchase made it on the show. Show yourself because they owe you a free autograph because
Mhm.
your purchase made it on the show.
True. And then the next thing I tweeted, I got 104 likes, not bad. Um, so the previous not like Sunday's show, but 2 Sundays ago, Matt he called himself stupid, and I of course screenshotted it and posted it where he called himself stupid. And then on last Sunday's show, he says he says chuckle, he chuckles and he says, "Cause I'm an idiot." So first he called himself stupid, then the next week he called himself an idiot, and then I tweeted it and I said, when someone says the same thing every episode slash once a week, believe them. So yeah, that's what I said.
Ay ay ay. Ay ay
Mhm.
ay. That's his
True.
that's his anytime I do a mad impersonation, it's just ay ay ay.
Hmm.
So
And then okay, and then there was the whole I got okay, and then there was obviously the whole Joe. We didn't talk about it, Jovi and Yara and their sledding and all that shit. But I posted TLC did the split screen of like the Dumb and Dumber. And then anyway, I posted a photo and then I said Jovi didn't get a whole new face though, because he's always been Cro-Magnon, which is like a caveman. So that was my tweet. Uh,
I did see the picture of Jovi, and he does look like somebody that would have been shoved into a locker. Because, guys, I did go to school in Louisiana. I am from Louisiana, and people with that face did get shoved into lockers. So I'm just saying.
True. And then let's see what else was there. Um oh, okay, and then I posted the photo of like Matt's friend David, and I said he looks like the Timu version of Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park, and then also he looks like Pauly Shore.
Oh, I can see both. That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Or so the Lincoln Park guy. But yeah, I can see both. Like a younger Pauly Shore, I can see that. Yeah, I do see that.
True. And then at one point Jasmine says, "I'm wife material 100%. Do you agree to that or no?" And then my tweet says, Jasmine isn't even dumpster material, let alone marriage material.
In what world?
Wife material, maybe in I don't want to bash any country, so no, I'm not gonna say that. No, she's definitely not wife material. And the fact that I know that is because she's been married twice, and neither of those men want anything to do with her. So I know that she's not.
Twice that we know of. She could have been married more times.
Well,
Mm.
yeah, twice that she admits in public, and she's definitely one for hiding and keeping secrets. So yeah, if she thinks she's marriage material, and I mean, if you are marriage material, the ring comes before the baby. So if you, Jasmine, if you were marriage material, you wouldn't be pregnant, you would be married, and to the man that actually impregnated you, right? Because that's usually what, if you're marriage material, he puts a ring on it and he buys you a G-Wagon, and then you get married, then you get pregnant. There's a process to that. Cheap hoes get pregnant right away.
She thinks if she thinks the more times you're married, that means like you're more of an expert on marriage, which is it's the opposite. If you've only been married once and successful, you're the expert, but not the person that's been married 3 times.
Well, exactly. I mean, and she's counting those marriages as marriages and not divorces, which are weird. Like,
Mhm.
'cause they're technically divorces because you're not with those men anymore. So you can't say I was married. You have to say I was divorced. Isn't that how it goes? Like if you ask someone, "Are you
The-
married?" They don't say yes when they're divorced from that person. You say I'm divorced, not married.
yeah, that's her Panamanian girl math.
Yeah, girl math. She just makes it all add up.
True. So there's that. And then the other thing that I tweeted about was about the Yara thing where it was the same old rehashed meltdown where Yara goes, that's the only thing which hurts me. And then I tweeted, we get it, but are we really having the same meltdown 2 episodes in a row?
Yes.
Yeah, I said the same thing. I was like, so between the six of them, they had nothing else to go on. So she had to bring up the fight that they already resolved the night before and
Hmm.
fight everybody and then start crying and screaming and run off again. Like, yeah, that's how scraping of the barrel we've been for that Lake Placid trip. And however much TLC spent on that trip, y'all should get a refund. You should reimburse you because y'all wasted so much money sending them to Lake Placid because y'all got no usable content the whole time. Literally.
Yeah, the cast members fleeced you, Mr. Matthew Sharp.
Yeah, I would sue the cast members at this point. I would sue them. I'd be like, I want my money back. I want a refund because
Mm.
y'all didn't produce me shit.
Yeah, like if you're gonna go down a sled, like at least like get injured for us, like on Love Island Games where they get injured and shit.
I mean, yeah, something could have happened, and they hyped up Libby and Andre arriving, and they're like, oh, it's gonna be a fight, it's gonna be an issue.
Hmm.
Nothing, literally not. What even killed me was Lauren talked all that shit, and then when they arrived, she tried to hug them.
Yeah.
I was like, you fake ass. You talked all that shit. You
Yeah,
said,
well, she was in the happy hugging mood because she was on her free Lake Placid trip, so she's in a good mood.
well, yeah, she's not ready to be a Karen that early in the morning on her free vacation. She was trying to enjoy it. So, but she could have at least pretended like she wanted to fight her, right? I mean, at the end of the day, would it kill them to just punch each other a couple times so I can get my money's worth? Like, am I asking for too much?
I know, like pull some hair, throw some
Just
mimosas in the
throw a
face,
drink in her face. I'm not asking for like, I'm not saying put her in the ER. Just grab a drink and throw it in her face. Give me something to work with, right?
Yeah, true. And then I think I already mentioned the whole Dumb and Dumber meme, but then I reposted it. Somebody tweeted it and I reposted it. And I said, TLC, this season is so ass. Oh no, TLC, this season is ass. So allow us to make the memes for you. And then they were the ones that posted the split screen side by side of the Dumb and Dumber character. So
Oh, I didn't even realize that they posted that. That's funny, actually.
true. Oh, and then here's a tweet from one of my followers. I'm going to read their tweet because I'd retweeted them. This is from Lizzie. She says, Doormat is truly an asshole of gigantic proportion. What is wrong with this guy? Is he actually the age he professes to be? Because I could swear he has the maturity of a 7-year-old. Why would someone sit there and giggle during a serious talk? or could he be stoned? That would be Doormat's only legitimate excuse for acting like a jerk. I've never seen anyone like act like that when talking about fatherhood or the future. So very sad.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. You is that the conversation they had when they were in the clothing store?
I think they're talking about, I assume they're talking about before the friend came, but they were at dinner or something.
Oh, yeah, yeah. He's always been very inappropriate with all of their conversations. So I noticed that right from the beginning.
Hmm.
Whatever this level of seriousness the conversation was, he never met it with that level. It was always silly, laughing, giggling. He would tell like a obscene joke in the middle of a serious conversation. Like he definitely doesn't have the social skills of someone his age. It's
Hmm.
the teenage boy. Everything is funny, and if you say anything that reminds him of a boner, he'll laugh. Like he definitely has like a social skill thing where he doesn't have adult conversations.
Hmm. And then another one of my followers, she tweeted, this is from Haley. She says, I used to like Jasmine. Now I see she is 100% not a good wife, mother, or person in general.
Oh, well, I'm glad that you caught up to us because we've known that for years, but it's
Hmm.
better late than never. Better late than never, right?
True. And that rounds out my live tweets, and it's midnight on a school night. And well, I know we'll have to save the other way for like Friday, along with all other tea and stuff.
Yeah, well, we have to talk about Love Island too, so I guess
Oh
we'll have
yeah.
to wait
Yeah.
until Friday because Love Island had its finale, so I have a lot of things I want to talk about with
Mm.
that. Well,
Well, overall, we should save it most of the nitty gritty, but were you happy or unhappy with how things turned out?
I was very, very, very happy with how things turned out. Actually, there was only one choice for
Hmm.
the winners, and my choice were the winners. So I was on top of it. If you ask Gina, it's like we wrote the script. Like it's exactly
Hmm.
how we needed to go.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that because then I'll ask you. Don't answer it now, but I'll probably ask you when we have a full conversation. Like I'll say, like, were you shocked when they like split the money and blah blah blah? So we'll get into all those details, but that's a long conversation.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. And Gina and I did a Love Island pod last night, right after the finale, if y'all want to listen. But yeah, Friday, we're going in depth and discuss it. By that time, Captain should be all caught up so she can join us, so she can give us her idea. Cause she's brand new to the show. And
So is Shabooty.
Hmm.
yeah,
And
yeah.
he's already having withdrawals. He's like, I need more. Where can I watch more?
Yeah,
Well,
trying to find a replacement, Craig.
did you tell Shabooty that we might watch the Australia version next month?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
Like,
so that might be a thing. So we'll let you know.
is that on Peacock or is you have to get some other shit?
No, it's on something else, but we'll
I think they said it was on Hulu. We'll figure it out. We'll figure
we'll
it out.
all out and we'll let you know. But I think we're gonna watch the Australian version since we can't watch the US version again until next summer. I think we're gonna because that one it won't be dubbed, it won't be another language. I can basically understand Australian, how they talk. So because we were looking at France, and it's gonna be dubbed, it's gonna be difficult to understand. So I think Australia might be the best bet.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch a dubbed one. I'll tell you that. Uh,
Yeah, me neither. But
and
there's
then
also Love is Blind that I hear is pretty good too. So I might binge watch that over the weekend.
Yeah, I did a story, like Instagram story, where I was like kind of fed up last night. And then I was like, tell me what other shows y'all watch, because I'm sick of this like rehash slop from 90 Day. And then I was surprised how many people still watch Love is Blind, because I did watch like the first two seasons, but then I kind of dropped off. And I just assumed like after all the years it would just get like watered down and shitty, like how 90 Day is. But apparently Love is Blind is still kind of good. So that a lot of people, I was surprised how many responses I got about Love is Blind.
I've never seen it.
Hmm.
So that would be interesting to jump into because yeah, I've never even seen one episode. So
Okay. You see, like I saw the first two episodes, two seasons or whatever, and I think like again, I'm not an expert on how it is present day, so I may be wrong, but the first two seasons, I assume this show has probably changed a lot, but then it seemed very more like wholesome and like innocent and stuff, and less ratchet and crazy. I think now it's probably more like kooky and crazy and whatever, and they take you out of location, you'll go to like Mexico and do all sorts of shit. So now it's probably more less wholesome. It's like more, they throw in bells and whistles and shit.
Well, yeah, if it's anything like Love Island, raunchy and uncensored, I like that they could cuss on Love Island. I know it's the little things for me. Like when
Right. Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love that.
I know, I remember when I first turned it on and I didn't realize that it was like cussing. I remember the first scene and they were like, F this, F this, F this. And I was like, whoa. I was like, I'm not used to that, but I like this. I love it. It's like, it gave me like that uncensored vibe. Like I was watching like raw
Mm.
shit. Cause I was like, all the shows that I watch, you can't cuss. And if they do, they will make sure it's like completely edited out. So I like that.
Yeah, and I like how the Love Islanders have their like cell phones back now, so they're back to posting on Instagram like themselves. So that's gonna be cool to watch.
Yeah, I like to watch to see what they actually post when, they're in control and it's not being handled by like a representative or whatever. So to see what their personalities are and to see, and a lot of them are very interactive on Instagram. So they'll answer your comments and stuff. So it'll be fun to get to know them. And they're gonna be, now that the show's over, they're gonna be all over the country doing appearances and stuff. So I've
Yeah.
been looking. When somebody comes to my town, I'm gonna show up. So.
Make sure it's not Tyreek though, or Johnny.
He's not welcomed here, by the way. He's not welcomed here.
I'm well, like Gina. I don't know how good of a memory you have. I'm trying to like. I remember when I was in like Boston, there was somebody in Boston at the same time I was, but I don't remember who it was. Do you remember? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Um,
But there was some. No, but that was from season seven.
yeah, Andrina,
Oh, was it the
Adriana. Yeah,
oh,
Showed
she
up
was in
for her.
Boston when I was in Boston?
yeah,
I
Uh,
would have shown up for Audrina. I would have
me
in,
shown up.
too.
in hindsight, now that I know who she is, yeah, I would have. But at the time, I didn't know who the fuck she was.
Yeah, she hasn't come here because I would have shown up. I think we've had Jeremiah show up and then Austin, because Austin's from Florida. So he's been a few places, but I didn't want to show up for either one of them.
True. I forgot to mention it's not related to like 90 Day Fiancé, and I forgot to even bring it up Friday. I don't know why, but I went to like a. This isn't reality TV related, but I saw Saturday I went to like a Maz Jobrani show. He's like a comedian, like a stand-up comic. He's kind of like Sarper if like Sarper actually put in like 30 years of like time to develop his act. Because anyway, like Maz Jobrani, he's a Persian guy, but then again, he's like a veteran comedian, meaning like he's been doing it for like 30, 35 years, some shit. So he's like an OG, but he's like really funny and like it's a lot of it's like cultural references and cultural humor and shit and stuff like that. So if you're into that, if you're into Sarper type stuff, actually go see Maz Jobrani, who's actually more talented.
I've never heard of him. Does he have a Netflix?
Yeah.
I can look.
Yeah, he has Netflix specials. Look him up. I think he filmed one. He filmed one Netflix special where I was actually there a couple like 3 or 4 years ago at the Ken
Hey, you were at a Netflix special?
Yeah, it was at the Kennedy Center. Oh, there's a scene where like I paused it and I definitely saw my big old head in the background somewhere.
Oh, that's so crazy. I was actually at a Netflix special taping before too, and I was in the mezzanine, like what the upstairs part, so you couldn't see me, but it's so funny because I was invited to the show, and then when I got there, I realized it was a Netflix special because there was a Netflix red carpet outside, and I was like, wait, we're filming this? We're filming this? What? So I don't even remember the girl's name, honestly. I know she was from Australia. But the girl, I don't even remember her name, but it was so cool to watch like how they do for Netflix because there was like extra stuff. Like we would stop and then we did like a retake. Like she told the joke and we laughed and everything was cool. And then all of a sudden the lights went out, they came back on. Then she retold the same joke and they recorded it again. I was like, this is crazy right now.
True. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I'm actually going to a similar comedy show on Sunday with a whole like it's basically with laughter, cultural celebrations, and splitting stories featuring different comedians.
Yeah, like I can't remember if it was for Netflix or Comedy Central or whatever, but like do you know like Dave Attell is the guy who was on the Insomniac show?
Yeah, I know who
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I was at like a Dave Attell taping, and then yeah, the differences are kind of interesting because they're definitely like when he first comes out, the like producers, like the stage hands or the producers or whatever, they're all like trying to like hype up the crowd, like, all right, he's about to come out, y'all, like be extra loud, as if more so than normal since we're filming it.
Yeah, we filmed. Yeah, I remember we filmed her entrance like 4 times
Mhm.
because not enough people, because everybody in the first like 25 rows, you had to all stand up. and
Yeah.
clap and jump up and down. And if they caught one person not standing up and jumping up and down, they had to I was in the balcony, so I didn't have to stand up, but they would redo it because they couldn't have not one single person not standing up. So they did it like 4 times.
True. Well, yeah, I'll look up the name of Masrabani's Netflix special. It's really good, and I'll send it to you, and I'll even put it in paper.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to screenshot where you're at so we can post that you were there. So we can.
Uh, True. Yeah, if anyone could find Where's Waldo, aka Shabooty, let us know. It's like,
How close were you to the stage?
oh, I don't know, like just I wasn't like in the front row or nothing, but just the frontish section. But I wasn't like super close, but like edge of the screen, kind of.
Okay, okay, that was better than me. I told you I was in the balcony. I had free tickets. I was invited by somebody else, so I wasn't even that close.
True. Oh, and then one other act you should the one of like Masrabani's openers, the guy right well he had three people, he had two other people come out before him, like one opener and then the middling act, and then Masrabani. And then the second guy, I've seen him before as well, but he's funny as fuck because his name is like Tehran, which is like the name of the capital city of Iran. But like he's like it's funny because like he's a very unique dude because he's literally like half black, half Persian, and he looks like Method Man from Wu-Tang Clan. And he's
Wow.
like really funny. And yeah, I'm sure he has shit on YouTube. So look up like Tehran, the comedian, on like YouTube. I'm sure there's like YouTube clips, and like he's mad funny. Like you should definitely see him live. He's a funny ass dude.
Yeah, I love comedy shows. So
Because
I'm all.
he'll throw on the N-word, and like he'll make like like terrorist jokes because he's like Persian or whatever, and then he'll throw in the N-word. So he's able to say, he's able to like dip in and out both of those kind of jokes.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it's to be able to do both is because if you do one and well, if I tell any of those other jokes, I'll get canceled. So it's cool that he has like a card in different races that he can use because you got to
Yeah.
be careful what you say these days.
Yeah, and then he does a really good impression of like his Persian father who's all like worried about him. Like he does a really good impression. I wish I could do it, but like I mean I probably could, but he does like really good impressions of his dad, his like super concerned dad of like, oh my God, Tehran, why don't you come home? I'm worried about you. Like shit like that. So he does a really good accent though. It's funny. Anyway, so yeah, check out those Tehran. Look him up on YouTube. The Maz Jobrani has a Netflix special. Look those up. I saw him live. So anyway, that was my random plug for them.
Yeah, I'll look it up and so yeah, Friday we'll talk about all of the stuff that we missed because there's a lot of stuff that we haven't discussed yet. So
I'll make a note. So Love Island Games, The Other Way, and then the whole Kenny and Tiger Lily. Those are three hot topics.
yeah, yeah, and that one you're gonna have to explain to me what happened because I was more confused more than
Yeah,
anything.
well, I'll start from the beginning. Like the first post.
I was like, how did we get here? Because that what I kept saying. I was like, what was like the beginning that made all of these people so upset? Like I was so confused.
Yeah, it was. We'll get through it. We'll go through it piece by piece of like. First, it was Tiger Lily's post. Then it was Kenny's post. Then it was my post. Then it was the comment section. Then it was me reposting Tiger Lily's post. Then it was me posting the comment section of Tiger Lily versus Kenny. And then it was me like going back and forth with Armando. And then me going back and forth with Kenny. So it was a whole thing. But anyway, we'll say that for Friday.
Yeah, yeah, we'll say that for Friday, and we'll talk some more love games on Friday too for the finale, and then we'll talk about the other way because we ain't even talk about it. So yeah,
Yeah. So, anyways, that's about it. Thanks for tuning in. I'll try to post this before I go to bed, hopefully. But that's about it. And yeah, go listen to last Friday's show because we had a funny Blumpkin segment with turn into Crumpkin. So it was really hilarious.
yeah, it was. I learned a lot of new stuff last week, so you should listen.
Yeah, that was that wasn't a planned bit. So that was a nice little treat. Anyway, it was you'll learn a lot. Listen to us.
Yeah, yeah, go back and listen, and it's a strip club that I've been to, so you gotta listen.
Sure. All right. Thank you, everyone. Let me give some shout outs to Lana, Nicole, Pineapple Girl, and George and Gina. And that's about it. So I guess I'll do my outro. Okay.
All right,
All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening tonight. If you guys Fridays on
Autumn Monday.
Monday. Good
Peace.
night.
Peace out, everybody.